Hello beautiful souls, and welcome to my second edition of Anytime Readings. And the question for this time is, what do my guides want me to know? And of course, because these readings can be visited at any time, it doesn't matter when you're watching, and this will be a psychic tarot reading. And of course, here you get to test your own intuition. Firstly, trust that you were led to this video for a reason. It has found you. And just take a moment to take a few deep breaths. Close your eyes and just tap into yourself and check in with how you're feeling. Acknowledge all the little tight spaces. Maybe you want to stretch something out, maybe you want to roll your shoulders. Just acknowledge exactly where you are. And know that it's perfectly okay. It's perfectly acceptable for you to be exactly where you are right now. Maybe you feel nervous or anxious. And call your guides in. Ask them to be present with you. And ask them to guide you to the correct reading. And then when it feels right, you can open your eyes and you will see 3 crystals before you. And now intuitively choose which crystal will be the reading for you. And I'm going to start with the rose quartz, the big pink one in the middle. And for those of you who chose this rose quartz reading, right, your guides really want you to know a number of things. Firstly, it is absolutely essential for you to be doing things that make you feel joy, that tickle your creative fancies, that make you feel as though you're doing something meaningful in your life. And you know, when you're able to tap into that energy where it's almost like there's no time and the energy is just flowing through you, that's how you know you are literally just channeling, right? Artists do this when they paint, but this is not the only way to be creative, okay? And this is not the only way to be in that flow. For some people, it's working with people. And you know, even solving a math problem is creative, right? Solving problems is creative. Building things is creative. There are so many different ways, but there really just needs to be this focus on creative energy, drive, passion, joy. And you need to ask yourself if that's what you're doing. And if you've been questioning whether you're doing the right thing, right? Here is your intuitive nudge. Is the thing you're doing making you feel joy? And of course, not every single thing in our life is going to make us feel joy every second, right? Sometimes there are going to be challenges, so don't become confused because maybe you have one bad day and then think, oh, this is not what you're meant to be doing. Ask yourself why you started doing that thing, and then learn to bring the joy and the passion back in if it was something you were doing because of joy, passion, drive, that fire, right? That inner fire. Balance is so important for you in terms of manifesting your abundance, manifesting your wealth. Learning to move through balance, learning to dance with balance. Your guides really want you to know that while you seek balance, certain new truths are going to be revealed to you, and that when you recognize you're in a toxic situation, it is perfectly okay for you to walk away. It doesn't make you a failure. It doesn't even make that situation a failure, right? It just means that it's not meant to continue. It's not meant to stay, and that's okay. What your guides want you to know is that just like we harvest things in autumn and then the land becomes sleepy and everything slows down and the days get shorter and we go into a state of rest, just because it appears that not much is happening on the surface and we have less energy doesn't mean things aren't happening, and it is a good time for the internal work. And so understanding these sort of flows of nature, right, the cycles, and understanding how our bodies also reciprocate in those cycles, right, our bodies reflect those cycles. It's important for you to know that when you're planting the seeds of your dreams, there is a time where there's this stillness, and then there's a time of blossoming as well. And that just because it appears still and not moving on the surface does not mean that something isn't happening below the surface, right? It really seems that your dreams are brewing beneath the surface, and I really want you to allow the winter of your life to be something that is also beautiful, and allow the winter of your life. And again, this winter, it's a metaphor that comes in and out of your life all the time, right? It comes with the actual winter season as well, but sometimes we hit a moment where it doesn't matter what time of the year it is, it suddenly feels like winter. Things suddenly feel cold. Things suddenly feel like they're not moving. And that's okay. Allow those moments of pause and know that things are still happening and things are still brewing, and that your guides, they are protecting you and they are moving things around for you in the energetic realms. And it just takes a little while before they show themselves. In the meantime, your job is to walk away from what is not serving you, to walk away from old unhealthy habits, and to walk towards hope, and to focus on bringing balance, divine balance into your life, right? Enough play, enough work, enough sleep, enough rest, enough joy, enough celebration, social time. All of these things are important. Spiritual time as well. Alright, beautiful rose quartz people. I do hope that that resonated for you. Of course, if you enjoyed that, please will you hit like, please will you hit subscribe. Next up, I am going to read for this beautiful blue lace agate. Some of you guys have recently moved house. Some of you guys are considering moving house. If you're thinking about it, yes, this is a good thing. It's the perfect time for you to move forward and make this change. It's the perfect time for you to bring a new energy into your home. And maybe for some of you it's not a physical move. Maybe it's just, maybe new roommates are moving in, or maybe a new partner is moving in, or maybe you have a new guest in terms of a child, or maybe you have family visiting, or maybe you're just rearranging the house, but there's just definitely this new energy coming through. And it's the perfect time for this energy to be coming through. And, sometimes a change is as good as a holiday. The other thing that's really coming through is that some of you are really battling with sleep and sleep patterns. And I really think that cleansing the home or moving into a new home space, but also bringing cleansing to that, right? But allowing that energetic shift to happen within the home space through conscious action is really going to help your sleeping patterns to become better. And the thing is, you know, some of you are suffering with insomnia. Some of you are suffering with what is medically deemed sleep paralysis, right? And for me, on a personal level, sleep paralysis really is negative entities coming through and attacking and disturbing your sleep, essentially. Often it's when you're very open spiritually, but you haven't placed enough protection, and you know, some negative entity has come through, and really they're just curious. If you're going through a tough time, however, they're coming to feed off your negative energy. And you know, firstly, the way you can transmute this when it's happening, and for those of you who don't know about sleep paralysis, it's kind of when you are still asleep but awake at the same time. It's kind of this sensation. And so you're lying in your bed and you feel like you can see the room, kind of, but there's a dark entity that comes in, which sometimes is like a shadow being, or you know, it's some kind of negative, scary thing. Sometimes people perceive it as like a burglar or something like this, and it's often accompanied with like a heavy feeling on the chest. For women, they often feel like they're going to be raped, and there's this sense of like not being able to scream for help and not being able to move, and it often takes quite a while to be able to try and pull out of this, and there's this heavy sensation and this like sensation of a climbing on top of you. The easiest way to get out of this is to recognize what is happening and go, okay, I recognize what this is, and to visualize brilliant golden or silvery light or white light or blue light, but whatever feels safest for you. Visualize light and just shine it towards that thing. And it often comes with this sense of fear and dread, and the best thing to do is to recognize, okay, there's fear, and to transmute that and sink into the knowing that nothing can happen to you, nothing can penetrate you, nothing can, you know, interact with you without your permission. And so by shining the light, which is inside you, you can dissolve that immediately. You can solve that very quickly. And I have had personal experience with this, and maybe at some point I'll make a video about my personal experience of it. But yes, visualizing the light and bringing yourself, you know, recognizing the power you have in being able to transmute your fear and sink into the security that you have guides that you can call on, and that they're here to protect you, and all you need to do is call for that light. Call for that light, and the moment you dissolve the fear is the moment it all disappears and you can move and wake up. I would say cleanse your space and call for your guides to bring protection upon your space, and give them very specific instruction in terms of, I would like you to protect all of the entrances of this home, and I would like for you to only allow that which vibrates with love to come through, and etc., etc. What is for the highest good of you, you know? And I would say start playing some crystal bowl recordings in your home space to just cleanse the energy, cleanse the air. Perhaps you can burn something that is good for cleansing. You can use lavender or rosemary. If you grow this in your garden, it's really powerful to use stuff you've grown yourself. Of course, it's very popular to use white sage. Please make sure you're getting this from an ethical source, as well as if you're going to use something like Palo Santo, make sure that you're getting this from an ethical source. Of course, we don't want to threaten the viability of us having these sacred plants in the future of our planet. For those of you suffering with insomnia and the sort of ability to not let go and go into that sleep space, firstly, minimizing screen time, especially around the time when you want to be going to bed, cutting off the screen time and making this less and less. Also creating sacred space in your bedroom, right? And especially around your bed space. So not checking emails in the bed, not checking WhatsApps in the bed, not checking your messages in the bed. The bed is for reading sacred books, it's for meditation, it's for sacred time with your partner, it's for calmness. It's not a space where you're allowed to invite worry and thinking. Certainly if you're studying, not studying in the bed, right? You can do these things away from the bed space, away from the bedroom if you can, or cordon off a specific area in your room where you do those kinds of things. But try about an hour before you want to go to bed. No more screen time. Put some calming music on. Start humming. Start praying. And start relaxing. Maybe go into a meditation before you sleep. And maybe you want to drink some chamomile tea. There are so many things you can do. But essentially the thing that helped me the most when it comes to insomnia is it doesn't actually matter if you don't sleep. But what matters is if you lie still and you relax and you tap in with your breath and you actually get some physical rest. It doesn't matter if you don't sleep. Stop stressing yourself out that you need to sleep, you need to sleep, you need to sleep. It doesn't matter. Just relax. Just breathe. Listen to the sound of your breath. Chant a mantra that brings you peace and calm. Maybe you want to say a prayer from your childhood, from whichever religion that you were brought up in. But yeah, don't stress yourself out about needing to fall asleep, because that's not helping you. Just relax and find those things that bring you the relaxing times. And of course, watching Netflix in bed, not good for your sleep space. Not good at all. You're far better off playing some crystal bowls or listening to a calming bedtime story or reading a lovely book or a spiritual book. Yes. Alright, that's it for you guys. Of course, if you enjoyed that, please will you hit like, please will you hit subscribe. And for the beautiful tiger's eyes, let's see what the cards are saying for you. Let's see what your guides want you to know. Your guides want you to know that all of the time you put into practicing a skill is absolutely taking you to your goal, is absolutely an important part of the process, and so enjoy it. Enjoy even the mistakes that you make. Say goodbye to the old and welcome in the new energies. You have done so much changing and so much growing, and perhaps you should hold a ritual to say goodbye to the old version of yourself. And remember that while you know you've changed profoundly, a lot of the people in your life are still going to expect you to be the same, and they're still going to treat you in the same way. And it's important for you to keep reminding yourself who it is you are now, who it is you choose to be now, and keep acting from that heart space, and don't get frustrated. Don't get frustrated by the labels and the things that people place upon you. Sink into the truth and the knowing of who it is you have transformed into, and know that you are never done with that transformational process. You are forever growing. Know who you are. You know who you are. And your guides want you to know you know who you are. And they've been calling you to awakening since the moment you were born. And you have listened, and many layers have been awakened to, many layers have been unfolded, many veils have been lifted, but this is not done. This is not done. And there is more. There is more listening for you to do. There is more for you to sink into. There is more for you to realize. There is more for you to discover. And there is more expansion to happen within the realms of self. And so continue to go into those spaces, continue to meditate and do your sacred practices that bring you closer to your guides. Your guides want you to call upon them whenever it is that you need them, whenever it is that you feel unsafe, whenever it is you are sinking into anger, resentment, or sadness. They want you to call upon them, and they want you to know that you can honor these emotions too. For they are indicators that something needs to shift and something needs to change, and something in your outer reality is not aligning with who you truly are. Your guides want to remind you that there is always going to be the different polarities. They want you to know that while you can see darkness in the world, and that's not going to go anywhere, there is also the light, and you can choose where you focus, and you can see both, and you can sit with both, and you can transmute one into the other, but they're always going to be present. There's always going to be the opposite ends of the scales. And so you also get to choose where do you fit in all of that, which doesn't mean you deny your own dark side, because that's also just ignoring or ignorance. It means you see your darkness, you see your shadow, you interrogate your shadow, you bring your light there, and then you choose to be the light, because you are also the light. Your guides want you to know that when you move through very difficult times in your life, this is some of the most profound growing that you ever get to do. This is some of the most beautiful gifts that you are ever given, in terms of being able to expand and to become more of who you are, to do the shadow work, to see the ego self. Remember who you are. Every catastrophe has within its core a profound blessing for you. Please know this. This is what your guides want you to know today. Beautiful souls, thank you so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed that. Please leave me a comment below. Let me know what you thought. Let me know if it resonated for you. Maybe share with me a beautiful affirmation. Of course, if you enjoyed that, please will you hit like, please will you hit subscribe. I'd love it if you joined me on Instagram. I do a weekly live on a Tuesday, very different space, pre-recording versus live. I actually much prefer the live. And of course, your energy directly influences what comes through, so this is really magical. And please join me on Facebook. I often host different events there. It's such an honor to have you here. Without you, I am nothing. And as always, until next time, with the love.